job as older people is to guide. You know, you older women in the church, a lot of you are letting your job down. What is the duty of the older women in the church? To teach the younger women to love their husbands and to serve the Lord. You know, a lot of women don't know they're supposed to love their husbands. It's like, where does it say that? A lot of men don't know they're supposed to love their wives. You'd be surprised what people don't know these days. You know that parents don't know they're supposed to take care of their children first? They don't know that. They think, oh, hey, guess what? I still got a couple of good years left of me. I got to get out there and partake. No, we don't. When you had kids, it became those kids. Your party days are over. Your fun in the sun done ended. The moment that little one screamed, Mama, here I am. Everything in your life changed. You have a responsibility to raise that child. People go through 1, 2, 3, 4 marriages. Don't do it at the child's expense. It's not fair to that child. You had a child, you wait till that child is reared and then fall in love again. In the meantime, you stay in love with your child. We live in a day and a time where parents have an unnatural. We live in a time when unnatural affection is the natural thing to do. Men with men and women with women, and mama's not loving their babies anymore. God forbid you have a responsibility to your children. Listen, your responsibility to your children is greater than your responsibility to your spouse. Up until I had children, my first responsibility was my wife. My children are grown now, so it goes back to my wife. But in the meantime, my wife and I had a responsibility to our children to get them grown. I didn't get to go to work if I wanted to. I had to go to work because I had 5 kids all saying, feed me, feed me. I mean, just the first year of Michael's 5P8, I can't tell you how many thousands of dollars alone. That kid was 40 pounds when he was a year old. 40 pounds. I couldn't lift him. I got a wheelbarrow and put him in that thing and scooted him around. I mean, my arms were all falling. I got a bad back to this day because he was 40 pounds. Picked him up one day and that's the last time I ever stood up straight. I mean, it was just tough. But I have a responsibility to my children. I didn't have a responsibility to go out and have a good time. I have a responsibility to raise my kids. That's what God held my feet to the flame for. And that's what God is testing all moms and dads on today. Your responsibility to God is your child. How do I serve God? God said, how can you serve me? I'm invisible. If you can't serve the visible people around you, how can you give your heart to God? How can you say you're a Christian and I love the Lord when you don't love your own? Any man who does not provide for his own is worse than an infidel. God talks about a day in which there will be unnatural affection, where parents will be lovers of fun instead of lovers of their own children. And that's not unusual. How many grandparents today are raising their kids so that the grandkids or their children go off and play? I don't mind babysitting my grandkid, but if you think you're getting a free weekend out of me, guess what? I raised mine. I didn't have a fun weekend. I had children to raise. Now that my kids are raised, if my wife and I want to go and play, we'll go and play. But you have a responsibility. That's what old people have. We have a responsibility to teach. And ladies, you have a responsibility to teach the younger women that responsibility. How many parents today will neglect their children? How many parents will sneak off and leave their children unguarded and unprotected? You know how many children's lives are placed in danger because girls who have children have to go get a second boyfriend or a third boyfriend? You know how many children are being killed by that second boyfriend? Just a couple weeks ago up there in Lancaster, where that boyfriend beat the child to death with mama watching because she had to have a boyfriend. Unnatural affection. That mama should have gotten that man's face and pummeled him to death. Unnatural affection. What happened to love? What happened to love? These three things are supposed to remain: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest is supposed to be love. But we got people who are willing to drop their children at the drop of a hat. Who's going to raise them? Oh, the devil will take good care of my child. You better believe he will. And when your child is burning from the flames of hell, screaming, "Mama, why did you do this to me? Daddy, why did you send me to this flame?" You'll say, "Because I had to have a weekend off. I had to have fun. I needed new clothes. I needed a computer. I needed this. I needed a boyfriend. I needed a girlfriend. But Mom and Dad, the hell will last forever." Well, I can get to preaching on this one. Don't you get me going. You cannot pull your children out of hell. You can only keep them from going there. But it will take love that you are not ready to give. Because you're lovers of self more than lovers of God. That's the sadness of this generation.